Precious Lord, take my hand.
Saved is a piece of music that is lost at time. A sound that bursts through the static as you pick up these ancient gospel hymns on your busted-ass radio while passing through an old backwater Pentecostal Christian town on your road trip to nowhere. A siren song that attempts to lure you to the source of these broadcasts, so that you may be saved from your life full of sin, that fades to static before it's successful, leaving you once again in complete silence as you continue your journey through Appalachia. Saved is best viewed within the context of Lingua Ignota, a musical project that preceded Reverend Kristen Micheal Hayter, a project that is an uncomfortable expression of unresolved trauma caused by the vicious abuse that Kristen Hayter experienced through the hands of men and religion. Through Lingua Ignota, we got to experience and share in her pain. But even as euphoric as these records were, there was still a deep sense of sorrow that existed beneath them. Apart from the obvious. A realization that as long as Lingua Ignota continued, she would have to relive these experiences over and over and over again, and never get the opportunity to overcome everything that she went through. There was a need for internal salvation, and that is why it was ultimately necessary for Kristen Hayter to retire the project. Saved acts in part as an answer to the call for salvation, that first step towards reconciliation with yourself and all you endured, conveyed through this charismatic Christian preacher's sermon. This is a very messy record, full of many purposeful mechanical imperfections, meant to engross you within the world of Saved. Take the opening track, I'm Getting Out While I Can, a song that Kristen Hayter and her producer Seth Manchester physically mangled. They dragged the reel all throughout the studio, recorded it to a cassette, ran it through an old busted tape player, and recorded over old forgotten tapes. This whole process creates this eerie effect of this song constantly phasing in and out of your ear, as the Reverend begs you to escape your life full of sin before the wrath of Judgment Day. All of these mechanical imperfections helps add to the out-of-place, out-of-time feel of these Pentecostal hymns, as ancient recordings are taped over to create these sermons of Saved, leaving only fragments of what existed before, that only occasionally break through. A reminder of the pain that once existed and still lingers to an extent, but pain that can now begin to fade. Old Bitches Die, Caligula, Sinner Get Ready. These are all deeply lonely records that leaves you completely and utterly isolated within their oppressive soundscapes. But Saved does not have the same level of loneliness that the Lingua Ignota records had. The atmosphere is still somewhat horrific, with the Lord and eternal damnation still weighing heavily upon you. But there is a light here that once did not exist. Kristen is still accessing a certain level of pain and ugliness, but she is still moving forward, using religious conversion as a means of healing and rebirth. Glossolalia is used sporadically all throughout the record, but most notably on the last track, How Can I Keep From Singing? As the Reverend sings this gorgeous hymn, with Hayter speaking in tongues underneath, that slowly starts to crescend as she breaks down, speaking the language of the Spirit, allowing her to get closer to heaven and closer to salvation, with the glossolalia reaching its peak of dry heaving and crying, with Saved ending in complete silence, leaving you with this conflicting sense of warm emptiness. Are you saved from the burden of all of your sins yet? No. But the winding path towards redemption is illuminated. And, yeah. Cool record, dude. Really makes you feel like a Pentecostal Christian. I'm thinking about giving this album a score of 5 music notes and like a little cross that you can pray to.